They move with grace, not speed. You won't hear them counting reps or timing jogs, but you will see them rising from floor mats with ease, carrying baskets of vegetables, and walking uphill without complaint. There is no urgency in their pace, but there is purpose. Movement is not a task, it's a rhythm. One old man, now 103, still walks to the sea each morning to gather driftwood, not because he must, but because he always has. It's his ritual, his quiet joy, and perhaps that's the key. They don't chase health, they live it. In every bend, every breath, every step across the rice fields. Their meals are simple, colorful, and honest. A bowl of miso soup, a handful of greens, fermented foods made with care. Small portions, beautifully arranged. Eating is sacred here, not rushed, not mindless. They talk to each other while eating. No screens, no noise, just the soft clink of bowls and the rhythm of gratitude. You'll often see them pause halfway through a meal, not because they're full, but because they're listening to their bodies. And when they feel that quiet, fullness, the 80%, they stop. It's not a diet, it's respect. Respect for the body that carries them through life. And perhaps that is what makes this village so different. It is built on respect. Respect for time, for food, for nature, and above all, for one another. An elder woman, nearly 107, still hosts tea gatherings every week. Her home is small, but her heart is vast. She brews tea with hands weathered by decades and offers it to neighbors young and old. No one refuses, because in her presence you feel seen. That's the gift these centenarians give each other, presence. There's no rush to fix, no need to impress. Just the soft, powerful art of being together. In this village, birthdays are not feared, they are cherished. With each passing year comes more stories, more laughter, more songs sung under the stars, and that might be the greatest secret of all. They are not afraid of aging. Here, wrinkles are maps. White hair is a crown. Slowness is not a flaw, but a melody. They still wake with purpose, not because society demands it, but because the heart does. Whether it's tending a bonsai tree, knitting for grandchildren, or offering prayers at the altar, they rise each morning knowing they are needed. Even in silence, they matter. And that is what we often forget. In a world obsessed with youth, speed, and productivity, we forget the power of simply belonging. But in this village, belonging is the soil in which longevity blooms. The villagers don't seek immortality. They don't fear death. They simply live, deeply, joyfully, fully. And that, my dear listener, is where we begin. There are still more habits to discover, habits that nourish not just the body, but the soul. In the next part, we'll uncover the daily mindset that helps them face stress with calm, a ritual they never go a day without, and a secret joy that keeps their spirits light even after 100 years. If this story moved you, share it with someone you care about. Let us return now to the village where time moves gently, and where each breath carries the wisdom of centuries. The elders here, many of them past 100 years old, have a quiet resilience about them. It is not loud, it does not boast, but it is there, in the way they stand tall, in the way they welcome each day as a gift, not a burden. One of the most powerful habits they share is how they face life's storms. They do not run from stress. They sit with it. It's a mindset woven into their culture called shikata ganai. It means it cannot be helped. But this is not a phrase of surrender. It is a whisper of strength. They do not dwell on what they cannot change. They accept it, and then, slowly, with dignity, they continue forward. One woman, now 104, lost her husband during the war. She raised 3 children alone, with no electricity and little food. Today she smiles as she tells the story, not with bitterness but with grace. Life is wind, she says. You cannot stop it, but you can choose how you walk through it. And so they walk, through grief, through hardship, through winters and losses, with a kind of peace that many of us search for our whole lives. This emotional strength is not taught in schools. It is lived over years, over shared sorrows, over cups of tea held in silence. And it brings us to another habit, one they never skip, no matter their age or condition: the morning ritual. In the Longevity Village, the first hour of the day is sacred. Before the sun rises fully, many elders are already awake. Some step outside to breathe in the morning mist. Others sweep their doorstep, a small act, but one filled with mindfulness. Some light incense. Some prepare tea. Some sit in silence with their palms resting on their knees, eyes closed, listening to birdsong. But all of them begin the day intentionally. It is their way of saying, "I am here. I am alive. This day matters." They do not wake and rush into the world. They ease into it like slipping into a warm bath. And that gentleness, that soft beginning, it changes how the whole day unfolds. One elder, 101 years old, wakes before dawn to press her palms together and whisper gratitude, not for anything grand, just for the breath in her lungs, the warmth in her blanket, the sound of the wind. Gratitude, she says, is a shield. It keeps the bitterness from taking root. And maybe that's the real lesson. Gratitude doesn't fix everything, but it changes how we carry everything. Next comes a habit that seems simple, but holds profound power: spending time in nature. Every day, no matter the weather, elders here step outside. Not for errands, not for noise, just to be among the trees, the soil, the river. Their gardens are not just for food, they are places of communion, with earth, with memory, with peace. One man, 106 years old, still tends a garden of radishes and tea leaves. When asked why he still works at his age, he chuckles, "Because the plants still listen to me." He speaks to them, and perhaps they speak back, not in words but in the quiet language of growth and patience. Modern science now tells us that being in nature lowers blood pressure, reduces stress hormones, and boosts immune function. But these elders did not need studies to tell them that. They knew, because they felt it. The breeze on your face, the sunlight on your skin, the smell of damp earth. These are not luxuries. They are necessities for a full, lasting life. Then, there is one habit most unexpected, but it may be the very reason their spirits stay so light. They laugh. Every day, not the loud laughter of parties, but the quiet chuckles of shared memory, the giggle over a broken teacup, the wide smile at an old joke told for the 50th time. They laugh with their eyes, with their hearts. And in their laughter you see it, the child within still alive, still playful. In one corner of the village, a group of elderly women meet each week to play card games. They wear bright scarves. They tease each other. They sing songs from their youth. One of them, 98, leans in and whispers to a visitor, "Don't grow up too much, it'll ruin your fun." And it makes sense. While their bodies may age, they protect something far more precious, the joy of being alive. This joy is not constant. Of course not. They have seen loss. They have buried loved ones. They have known hunger, war, and fear. But they choose joy anyway, like lighting a candle in a dark room, because, as one elder said, "If I wait for everything to be perfect, I'll never laugh again. So I laugh now, and again, and again." And so these small habits, acceptance of stress, morning rituals, communion with nature, and daily laughter, form the core of lives that last and matter. These habits aren't products. They can't be bought in stores. They are cultivated, like gardens, slowly, with care, and with love. We often chase secrets for longevity in pills and powders, but maybe the real secrets are hidden in the soft corners of everyday life. A warm cup, a morning breeze, a hand held, a giggle shared. As we continue in the next part, we'll uncover the final habits that make this village a beacon of healthy aging, including a quiet way they prepare for death, and how it gives them the courage to live more fully. You won't want to miss it. If this story moved you, share it with someone you care about. As the sun begins to dip behind the hills of the Longevity Village, another truth rises. Quietly but unmistakably, the people here are not only living long, they are living well. And one of their deepest secrets lies in something modern life often forgets: connection. In the West, we often speak of independence as the ultimate goal, but here in this gentle village, they cherish something else: interdependence. From childhood to old age, people remain woven together. Families don't scatter, they stay close. Neighbors are not just acquaintances, they are lifelines. This is the practice of Moai. It means a committed social group, a circle of support, a promise that no one walks alone. These groups meet regularly, sometimes daily. They cook together, tend gardens, repair homes, and check in on one another. Not out of duty, but out of deep love. Imagine being 102 and still having 4 people who visit you every day just to make sure you're smiling. Imagine never having to eat alone unless you choose to. Imagine growing older, not with fear, but with a sense of being wrapped in care. This kind of social fabric does more than warm the heart, it strengthens it, literally. Science now shows that isolation is as dangerous to our health as smoking. But the elders here are never truly alone. Their lives are filled with touch, with laughter, with the comfort of knowing someone is always near. A 99-year-old man in the village puts it this way: "When I wake up, I know someone will call my name today. That's enough." And that leads to another daily habit, something almost invisible but deeply powerful. Purpose. They call it ikigai. It means a reason to wake up. This isn't a grand mission. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It could be tending flowers, cooking soup for your grandson, sweeping the temple steps. But it must matter to you. In the longevity village, even those over 100 still have a role. They are not put aside. A 105-year-old woman still weaves cloth for the community festival. Her hands are slow, but her pride is fierce. "If I don't do it," she says, "who will remember the way?" Purpose is what keeps the spark lit. It gives shape to the days. Without it, time becomes heavy. But with it, even old age feels like a blessing. The next habit is less spoken but deeply felt: forgiveness. These elders have lived through heartbreak, betrayal, and regret. They've made mistakes, been wounded, lost people they loved, but they do not carry bitterness like a badge. They release it, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. One elder sits each week beside a stream, not to fish, not to pray, but to remember. She lets the water carry her memories, especially the painful ones. "If I don't let them go," she says, "they turn to stone in my chest." Forgiveness is not weakness here. It is the final act of strength. It is choosing your own peace over someone else's fault. It is reclaiming joy from the ashes of what was lost. And maybe that is why these elders laugh so easily. They are not weighed down. They have learned to set things down so they can walk farther. And now we reach something rarely discussed in our busy world, but held tenderly here: preparation for death. In the longevity village, death is not hidden. It is not feared like a shadow. It is a companion, a final guest that is expected. Elders here often write farewell letters while they are still healthy. They prepare modest memorial spaces. Some even select songs to be played at their funerals, not with sadness but with gentle pride. One elder, 100 years old, wrote a short poem and placed it in a jar. "When I go, do not cry. I have lived as the tree does, rooted in love, reaching toward light." This openness about death has a surprising effect. It frees them to live more fully, because they are not clinging. They are not resisting the truth. They embrace the entire arc of life from first breath to final sigh, and maybe in doing so they extend the space in between. The part we call living. In the final part of our journey, we will bring all these habits together. You'll hear the story of a man who turned 110 and said he still felt like a boy. And you'll learn one final truth, perhaps the most powerful of all, that holds the soul of this village like a flame in the dark. There is a man in the longevity village named Haruki. He turned 110 last spring. When asked the secret to his age, he didn't mention diet, or medicine, or genetics. He smiled, eyes twinkling like morning dew, and said simply, "I never stopped loving the sunrise." Each morning for over a century he stepped outside, sometimes barefoot, sometimes with a cane, and watched the sun rise over the rice fields. Even on days when his knees ached, even when grief pressed heavy on his chest. Because for Haruki, the sunrise was not just light, it was a reminder he was still here, still breathing, still witnessing beauty, still part of the great unfolding story, and perhaps that is the final habit that ties all the others together. They show up. These elders, some of the oldest people on earth, show up for life, again and again. They show up for each other. They show up for the small tasks. They show up in gratitude, in pain, in laughter. They don't chase youth. They honor age. They don't wish to go backward. They pour love into the moment they have. And in doing so, they teach us something precious. That a long life is not built in years alone. It's built in presence, in choosing to be awake to life even when it's imperfect, even when it's hard, even when we're tired. It's in the way they tie their shoes slowly, the way they serve tea carefully, the way they touch a flower like it holds 1,000 memories. They've slowed down, yes, but maybe they've simply remembered the rhythm that life was always meant to have. And now, as we draw this journey to a close, here are the 8 daily habits they live by, not as a checklist, but as a way of being. They face stress with acceptance, not resistance. They allow life's storms to pass through instead of fighting the wind. They honor a mindful morning ritual. Each day begins not with rush, but with reverence. They spend time in nature, not for exercise, but for healing. They laugh daily. Even if it's just a chuckle, it keeps the soul light. They nurture deep social bonds. They know that we live longer and stronger when we're not alone. They live with purpose. No matter their age, they find reasons to wake up and contribute. They practice forgiveness, letting go so the heart stays soft. They prepare for death, not with fear but with peace, because understanding the end helps them cherish the middle. And all these habits woven together form a beautiful truth. They do not just add years to life. They add life to the years. So, if you are watching this and you are tired or worried or wondering if your best days are behind you, let this be your gentle reminder. It's never too late to start again, to sip your tea a little slower, to call an old friend, to feel the breeze and whisper, "Thank you," to show up for one more sunrise, because in the end, longevity isn't about avoiding death. It's about embracing life, every imperfect, beautiful, ordinary moment of it, and in doing that, you just might find yourself dancing past 100 with a heart still full and a soul still young. If this story moved you, share it with someone you care about.